sitting here with Naomi Punk. We're at Scott Bickmore's Sewing Circle in the Viking Mill. Naomi Punk played a show last night at Little Berlin for the Dream Oven. So, how you guys doing?
Yeah. Okay, Neil, Travis, and Nick. People were talking about you guys before you came, and people from like different places, and people who said they'd heard about you beyond this show. So, like, what's going on? Are you guys putting yourselves out there? Are you getting a lot of attention?
I guess so.
Where are you from?
From Olympia, Seattle.
Okay.
State.
All right, so you're coming all the way over here, so you get exposure along the way.
Yeah.
And what's the route that you guys are taking?
We went east first from Seattle.
Okay.
We went up through Montana, South Dakota, and then up past Minneapolis, Chicago, and Canada, and then came down to Northeast.
And wow, that's an interesting tour, huh? What do you call that tour? I mean, is that like
I guess it's like a North American tour.
the North
We
American
played in Toronto,
tour?
played in Montreal, I guess. So it's international.
Is that what you like bill it as? Like, I mean,
I don't know, we just went on it, we just like called it a big tour.
It's just a show and then a show and then a show and then a show.
well, how does it go down exactly? You know, like how are you finding these shows? How you finding Marshall? How you find the Dream
Yeah.
Oven?
Well, I think we were just like, well, we want to go like everywhere. So and we're like a band that does everything ourselves. So we just started like calling people that knew people from different cities and stuff. And
We met Marshall 2 years ago.
yeah, we did like a similar U.S. tour
Okay.
a while back and played at the Dream Oven.
Well, it was
Wafka.
Wafka.
Yeah.
It was like the Secret Garden show or something.
So yeah, that
Enter
was
through the
that was
backyard.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So and we just like got in touch with him again about and like we set up a lot of shows for touring bands in like Olympia and Seattle. And they
Okay.
come
Oh,
through.
all right. So you got a show, and then you start finding other bands.
Yeah, well a lot of times we like contact other bands from other cities. We're like, hey, your band's really good. You want to play a show with us.
And that happens with you too. Like some people contact you.
Yeah.
And you think that's the way like the kind of the industry is evolved, where
I mean, it's not really like that's not like the music industry like as a whole or whatever. But I think the part that we're.
but this part of it is it's kind of like this community and this looking out for each other is playing the role of the manager, the promoter. It's almost like you're able to do it without those guys because you are looking out for each other, and it's like this environment where people are making it easy to set up shows and do it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun that way. We've been doing it for a long time, or not a long time, but for most of the time we've been playing music.
What possesses you to start before? Like,
Well, we came out with a record.
okay.
What's the record called?
It's called The Feeling. Came out in April of this year, 2012. So we were like, well, I guess we should go to it. Put it
Sell
out there.
some records.
Yeah. It kind of generates its own situation, you know. Like we've been on tour
We're
before.
supposed to tour your record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta do that.
And how long?
The tour?
Yeah.
Well, we did like kind of a little West Coast tour in June, like to San Francisco and Oakland and stuff. And then this tour is like a little bit more than a month. We're going like, it's like a big circle around the world, right?
How would you say, I mean, you've been on the West Coast, you guys grew up there, I mean, how would you say being out in the Northeast compares, or like, are you seeing different, like, niches, or are you seeing kind of, like, the same type of things as you'd see out West, or?
Well, cities are a lot different. I think that like our people, similar types of people are like drawn to like going to a punk show that we were
Right.
playing at, so it's still like, I mean, it's a lot different. Like last night there were like a lot of people who were like catcalling and stuff.
Yeah.
And like,
Catcalling you guys?
Yeah.
well, you know, just like heckling and stuff.
What?
Did you notice?
But like in a cool way. I mean,
Yeah,
but
did you
people
notice
were
when you guys
The
play?
balcony's like interactive, right?
Yeah.
yeah. Like in like the Northwest, everyone's like super polite.
Ever fucking do that.
Even if
Yeah.
they like hate your band, they'll be like,
I mean,
You're like, that was fantastic.
one thing about that crowd though, I don't know if you
You're
guys
looking to the
noticed,
left and you didn't seem like you meant that at all.
but as soon as you guys set up and you guys were having technical difficulties, like as soon as you set up, the crowd like charged forward and was like pressed up against you guys playing. Whereas the other bands, they kind of relaxed back. There was like space between the band and like the crowd.
Wait a second, man. What were they saying?
Well, they were like start playing.
Oh,
Play,
really?
just play anyway.
Oh, dude, that happens to me every time.
Yeah.
no,
But it was
people are
just
just more
fun.
like interactive. Like
Yeah.
you just don't really meet those kinds of. I
It's
mean,
like-
people who are like into our band are like making jokes about us. or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I mean Spencer was calling you guys.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Well, I mean,
I think
maybe
that's
you guys
kinda
have
like-
that like germs feel or something where people are like people pouring sugar on you and stuff like that. You know, it's like in good fun, but it's still.
Yeah.
Oh shit. All right. See, he's like the executive producer, so you have to let him do that. But sometimes he fucks up the production, and then he gets mad at you for doing it. So be careful with that. Jesus.
so the songs you played last night, were they all off your new record?
Yeah, the first one we played is off the brand new single that just came out.
Cool.
Yeah. Tell us about this. Okay, what's the name of the album? Is
The feeling.
The Feeling.
You
And,
wanna know what the feeling is?
Yeah, what's the
well, I don't
feeling?
know. I mean, do you want to tell us?
I mean, I get good feelings listening to that record.
Is this a visceral album? Is it?
Yeah, it's,
Are you
I feel
chasing
like it's
a
a pretty
feeling?
visceral band.
And is it about the experience? You know, like you guys you're going on tour all the way across the country, and you gotta have these moments where you're just like, what are you doing in my life? You know, like, what is this about? Is this an excuse for me to go out and see places? I mean, you could just be hanging out in Seattle. What's that? Right, it's boring. It's not enough. But some people do that, right? You know bands that do that? And you're choosing to go to California, you're choosing to go to the Dakotas, and it's gotta be fucked up. Does it inform the music? When you get there, you write songs on the road?
No. It's like, it's more like there's like a cycle to it. Yeah.
Who does like most of the songwriting? I mean, is it a collective effort or is it?
I feel like it's kind of a collective thing. Like I'll work on a part and then jam it with Nick, and then we'll all get into it.
Cool.
But I feel like it ends up, even if I like write a song all by myself, it just ends up kind of having this like roots.
A lot of our aesthetic too is like the guitars, like
Yeah.
they balance each other out.
Yeah.
And
So
like they follow each other. Like a lot more closely than other
Yeah, how did your chemistry work? I mean, when you guys first started, did you have those moments where you're like, oh shit, I'm not sure if this is working out? Or like, you know what I mean? Like that whole getting acclimated thing.
I mean, we weren't like taking it as serious as we are now when we started. You know? So it wasn't like it's like, oh man, we're gonna have to be doing a tour in a couple of years, so like we better get ready. Like,
we were both in like separate bands. All of us were in separate bands. It was like a side project to this band.
yeah.
What made you want to do it? You just like knew each other and like, wait, maybe it'd be cool if we jammed for a little bit.
It was a little bit more focused than that, but
So you did have an
Like-
idea for a band.
yeah, like I had this concept, wanted to play with them.
What was the concept?
It was kind of, it's not like, it wasn't like super concrete, but it was like, have like really like gentle music that was like really visceral and kind of like simple and beautiful.
You guys were a punk band.
But it kind of didn't end up being that gentle. So. And I also was a drummer in like a really loud band, and they played, yeah, and we like would play a lot together and stuff. And I was like, these like.
Isn't it funny when you're starting off playing and it's like, and then the other shit comes out? You're
Yeah,
like,
it's not
let's
really
do
like.
something metal, and it's like, oh, next thing you know, you guys scream at the top of your lungs and cranking up the distortion. But it started out with like a Peter, Paul, and Mary cover song.
I didn't really say that.
I'm describing my band.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're open to like
I've exhibited in
things
that
kind of
gallery
happen
5 times and never
in a
met
way.
a fucking
Yeah.
doctor. And even though
How do you guys rehearse? And how does it go down? Do you get in there? Do you do anything to sort of like?
Me and Neil live in Olympia, so it's like an hour drive. So I actually don't practice that often, but it's pretty like serious.
And are you regimented about it? You're like, okay, we're gonna start and do this song.
Usually what happens is you go there and then try playing for like
Then you get coffee.
Yeah. You get coffee and then you come back. Yeah, there's like that period where you have to sort of like.
We set up and then we start playing and it sounds shitty, so we just go get coffee.
And the coffee is the secret. Or you
That's
think
just
it's
like
just
that's just par for the course. I mean, that's kind of like what you gotta do to be a human. Sometimes you gotta do.
Sometimes it doesn't work though, if it's like 100 degrees outside.
just can't think. But there is something to be said about, you know, you talk about feelings, visceral, and it's not just the coffee, it's like you guys haven't seen each other a little bit, and you kind of have to get in the same space, you know, like you've been living your respective lives, and you kind of need a moment where you're just sort of like feeling comfortable with each other.
I think there were like points earlier in the band where like we wouldn't even like Nick and I wouldn't even see Travis for like and then we'd like see each other and like play a show and then like
Yeah, I've always been really into like being like not playing very often or whatever, like not thinking about playing every show, cause like you just go out and do it for this type thing, so we just play like a show.
Yeah.
Like we got another play and just like not try to get any shows. Like we didn't even really start trying to get shows to start trying booking too really. But so we would like take long periods of time off and then play a bunch of shows and then I think now it's a little bit different. Like we are a lot more like just like acclimated to like interacting with each other.
Well, I lived there and I lived here.
So you do put some importance on that
That's
in
just to feel
between the
right.
music, you know?
Yeah, it has to feel right for for me like I can't really just play music like just like whatever. Like I want it to feel really right. And, like I want to feel really engaged with like like playing a show. So I'm just always like making sure that like we're all on the same page and like feeling cool and feeling this other side.
Yeah, because it comes off in the music.
Well, tell me, we were kind of talking about, like last night, tell me about your live sound compared to your recorded sound. Is there, I didn't get to, like, I've never seen you guys play before, but I've been listening to you since I first met you, and you know, I was like blown away by how loud it was compared to the recordings.
Well, we say on the record says please blast it, so it's supposed to be loud. So the thing is that when you record a record, like it's not optional. It's not like
you can't just mic for a live set and have it sound.
as loud and powerful and like immediate.
So you might hear him if that's what Well, is Zipper creating a little more ambiance than you?
Cool.
When we're recording, we can't like force you to listen to it as loud as we play live, or like force it to be like as like the way we want it to be presenting live. So like I think we like take there's just like other like sounds and like feelings and textures that like in like a recorded space that like can make up for that. So like instead of like us having like a bunch of like falsetto overdubs, like you can't do that live. So
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna like scream those parts, but like
Do you guys sing too? You ever try?
Well, I mean, I sing, but not in this band.
Yeah, I guess the thing that blew me away was the guitars, just like, like in the recordings, it's almost like you don't pay attention to how there's like two like dueling guitars. You kind of just hear it as like not as one, but it kind of blends differently. And then when it's like live, it's like there's rhythm, and then there's like this other blaring like rock and roll sound that's like coming through. I think I guess like I mean how do you guys record? Do you do it live, or do you do it like individual tracks? Or?
Yeah, we only really done. We did one 7-inch that was like in the studio. We just played it live.
It sounds way more gnarly.
It sounds way more gnarly.
The record.
The record, we recorded like all the drums on a 4-track tape player, and then like I put those onto a computer, and then just like recorded all the drum or the guitars and vocals like really individually, and it was like a really like long process.
Yeah.
And I feel like going through that like handmade filter is like pretty important. Like, I think it sounds a lot different than when like bands go into a studio for like a month or whatever and just like record a record together live with a couple of overdubs, and then like spending like a year and a half like producing it yourself, and like there's so much like subtlety and like all of the artistic decision making you can make like with like how you're mixing things and like how you're recording things, and like when you don't have really nice mics, there are like different techniques that you can
Like
like
what?
go to rely on, like just doing more overdubs,
Yeah.
like doing like 20 guitar tracks or whatever.
And you'll do that?
Yeah, and like 10 vocal tracks and like.
Yeah. Something about that layering. What is that? It's like we like to hear. I mean, I guess
just
you're getting this.
It smooths everything out.
It like just sounds things, makes things sound like more warbly. And,
Yeah, and you're adding these like overtones that you
like
can't
playing
really
the guitar
explain,
parts
or
slightly different ways.
it's
or
just a
different
fuller
settings.
sound. Everything, and it's like every track is a little bit different.
Yeah. There's like a stereo font energy to it.
Yeah.
It's about the rock star life. Are you guys getting laid?
No man.
Are you?
We don't do that.
What's happening? Like,
We slept in the band and we played.
do you have fans and like? I mean, I remember I saw this band, Kill Me in Terrace, Party Dream. Have you heard of them? They played at Johnny Brenda's, and these guys are hilarious. They started out as a punk band, and kind of like the Beastie Boys. And then they were something like, you know what? We like performing. We just want to engage the crowd however we can. So let's turn this into like some kind of pop thing. It's sort of like the sounds, or it's like that. I don't know what you call that kind of music, but it's like that disco-y stuff that you hear, like Management along those lines. And so they went from punk to that, and they would get all dressed up. And when I first saw them, they were wearing these Adidas jumpsuits, or warm-up suits, and burkas. And you could not see you couldn't see any skin or face or anything. And they're dancing around, and I kind of thought it was a hip-hop group. I pictured like these black dudes underneath. They're like muscular and dancing, and as the show went on, the clothes came off. The burqa came off, and they're like these blondie dudes from Ohio. And then they kind of unzipped, and next thing you know, at the end of the show, they're crawling around in like these thongs with the American flag on them. And
That seems political.
yeah, it was just like this kind of insane performance.
Gentrifying burgers.
And okay, the lead singer, he was straight, and the brother, Gil, who plays keyboards, he's like kind of like this very flamboyant, and I'm pretty sure he's gay. I waited on him. I used to work there, and I waited on him. I didn't realize it. And I think Gil was hitting on me. Long story short, the front of the crowd was comprised of like 2 rows of girls, just infatuated. Just staring up at these guys like, oh my God. And then after the show, I was talking to them, and they were sitting there waiting. We couldn't wait to get in there. Do you ever have any kind of like someone in the crowd who's, because I feel like people were looking forward to your music and they're getting antsy. Do you have that connection where there's that, like someone in the crowd is watching you while you're playing and you're connecting with them, or someone comes up to you afterwards? I mean, you have to have conversations.
I mean, our music's just really focused on like the music and like what people are getting out of it, and not really about our personalities or like our personas or like our like attitudes as individuals as part of the band. And us as like we have like very much celebrity built into the individual.
So
And that's not really like our
so that's not the rewarding part, to have someone, that reaction.
I mean, it's cool when people like are into your music. That's like definitely rewarding. But like not like, I just don't really care about it.
Well, do you generate relationships though through the music?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Like with other bands,
Yeah, for sure.
and it's sort of like growing as you go. And that's gotta be nice, because when you do go on tour, now you have like more of a tour that you go on.
Yeah.
So what's next then? I mean, let's say that kept happening. Is that gonna go over to overseas?
Yeah, I don't want to go to Europe.
Really? Have you started taking steps?
Kinda.
There's some steps.
Really? You know some people over there?
Kind of, yeah.
How are you gonna make that happen?
I don't know, we'll see.
Cool. I guess.
Let me know. I used to live in Berlin,
Oh, really?
and I have some friends there,
Cool.
and there's some really cool spots. And I'm sure Marshall and other people, at least in our class. So if you guys just do decide to do that, it'd be cool to see you guys, branch out a little bit, maybe end up in China.
That's where Nick wants to go.
Play on the wall.
So we should probably start wrapping up this interview. We didn't really talk much about Olympia. I mean, I guess like on an ending note, or sort of ending note. I mean, what should people on the East Coast or in Philly like? I mean, what's cool out in Olympia that we wouldn't know about otherwise?
I've been asked this a few times,
Yeah.
and I just get really bad answers. I don't know. I feel like I like alienate myself from that scene a lot of the time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we all kind of like isolate ourselves and like spend all the time indoors.
Well, what's your favorite venue that you would?
In Olympia?
there's also houses in Olympia.
Yeah, a lot of house shit. Like,
There's a place called Older Font. It's an art store. There's a gallery in the back that's really cool. I just drove them. It's a good spot.
Do you guys wrestle with seasonal affective disorder?
I kind of like embrace it.
I love
Really?
stuff.
Yeah.
But I grew up in Rochester where it was like gray all the time and raining a lot, shitty weather. And being in Philadelphia where it is usually sunny, it really has made a difference.
Yeah.
I don't know. The sun really bothers me.
Really?
It
It's
makes me really uncomfortable.
but to have a sunny day and not be outside, even still, you're comforted by the.
When we were in
The
Toronto,
massive-
we woke up and it was raining, and Neil was just like, "Oh, it's raining."
It's just so
like that.
beautiful.
Interesting.
I mean, I think like living in the Northwest for me is like, I mean, I grew up in like a really rural area,
Yeah.
and like just being around like that is really comforting and important.
I think it lends itself to creativity. Because you have this gray sky, right? And it is like, there's no depth to it. And that's your environment, that's the feel. And yeah, it's on the one hand, it weighs on you, but on the other hand, it's like you're having to do stuff in order to operate in that atmosphere. You know, it's like the gray area, the creativity. I have to find something certain within that, or create something within that grayness, so I'm not totally lost in the gray. And I find that when I talk to people that are from and spend a lot of time in that kind of environment, that they all tend to like, they have something that they're doing to cope with it. And a lot of it is creativity. You can talk about a feeling and not really know what that feeling is, but you're not maybe able to articulate it, but there's definitely something that you are feeling that you wouldn't be feeling otherwise.
So you guys are playing tonight in DC at Comet Ping Pong. And then you guys said you're touring down to New Orleans and then back west. Cool. So, new record out. The Feeling, 7-inch. Does it have a title or is it just?
It's called, well, not really, it's just 2 songs.
Yeah, just a single or 2 singles. So yeah, Naomi Pump, thanks for playing Philly. And,
Thanks for having us.
yeah, hopefully we'll see you again in 2 years. Or sooner than that.
That'd probably be soon.
Yeah, good. Cool. Alright.
Alright guys, thanks for joining the Snowman Circle.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Alright.
I want to go see the Supreme Court.
Yeah, let's go do that.